You have gods, wizards, science experiments, and even tech billionaires in metal suits all in the same room. But there's a massive difference in how their powers work. Some of them used to be simple, powerless mortals, like Galactus and the Silver Surfer. So how did they get their powers, and how do all of these powers really work? Mutants. The scientific name for them is Homo superior, but what really is a mutant? They're defined by the X gene. When the X gene is activated, it produces a unique protein that spreads throughout the body, fundamentally rewriting the person and giving them, well, superpowers. And this can be literally any kind of power, from physical mutations like wings to being able to control the weather. Usually, this gene is dormant until puberty, which is why most mutants discover their powers as teenagers. However, there's not really a hard rule. The gene can activate right at birth, or be forced to awake prematurely under extreme stress or severe trauma. But here's what most people don't actually know about the X gene. The next stage of human evolution was actually an experiment by the Celestials, who manipulated the DNA of early humanity. They had planted these genetic markers into early humans, and the gene was just waiting for the right conditions to wake up. There's also a strict hierarchy of mutants: epsilon, delta, gamma, beta, alpha, and omega. Epsilon mutants have weak or purely cosmetic mutations with little practical use. People like Beak come into this. Honestly, they barely have superpowers. Beta mutants, on the other hand, tend to come with practical or strong powers that are either physical alterations or passive abilities. You might be surprised, but Wolverine actually is a beta-level mutant. I know, crazy, right? It's because his mutant powers are pretty much at their limit. Meanwhile, alphas and omegas are a lot more undefined in terms of how strong they can be. Take Cyclops, for example. His basic ability is absorbing energy and releasing it as massive blasts, and the raw output here is insane. That's what makes him an alpha-level mutant. The damage he can cause is way above anything Wolverine could do. Even if in a fight, I'd bet on Logan 10 out of 10 times. But even someone like Scott is nothing compared to an omega-level mutant like Jean Grey. These are beings with no upper limit, and their powers can theoretically be infinite. You got people like Magneto, who have the power to influence entire worlds. Fun fact, did you know even Wanda used to be an omega-level mutant before they retconned her? But wait, if physical alterations are classified as a mutation, what's up with people like Spidey, Daredevil, and the Hulk? Well, mutates. The whole difference between these guys is that the power of a mutant is internal. It comes from their X gene. Mutates are people whose biology was permanently altered by an outside agent, like radiation, chemicals, or exotic energies. They don't have an X gene. Their superhuman abilities develop after birth, which makes them this category for most of your classic superhero origin stories. Peter Parker is the textbook example. He was just a normal kid until a bite from a genetically altered spider rewrote his DNA, triggering enhanced strength, agility, reflexes, and the ability to cling to surfaces. You also have the Fantastic Four, who were bombarded by cosmic rays during a spaceflight, resulting in elasticity, fire projection, rock-like strength, and invisibility. Or Bruce Banner, whose exposure to a blast of gamma radiation fundamentally transformed him into the Hulk, granting him immense strength and durability. But it's not always a scientific accident. Characters like Steve Rogers, who received peak human physicality through the super soldier serum and Vita Ray exposure, and even Daredevil and Deadpool.
Hi, I'm Matt. I got some chemicals splashed in my eyes when I was a kid that gave me heightened senses.
Are all officially classified as mutates because their powers were forced onto them post-birth, either accidentally or on purpose. And you might be wondering, what does it matter if they're both mutated? These guys are seen in a much better light in the Marvel Universe. And think about it. Daredevil is a beloved Hell's Kitchen icon. Captain America is Marvel's poster boy. Peter has won the key to the city many times over now, and Bruce is a well-respected scientist across the world. But mutants? Their stories are almost always about civil rights, systemic prejudice, and the social struggle of literally being born different. It matters more than you would think. Also, besides Sentry, we've never seen a mutate with the power level of an omega-level mutant in the MCU yet. Mystics. Here you have your sorcerers, wizards, witches, and everything in between. Their power comes through supernatural, magical, dimensional, or spiritual forces, often by making contact with other realms, invoking divine energies, or utilizing ancient artifacts. Being a mystic is years and years of training, studying, and hard practice. They use rituals, incantations, and occult techniques to channel energy from entities like gods, demons, or even entire dimensions. A great example is the Ancient One. Her power basically comes from drawing energy directly from the Dark Dimension, the realm of Dormammu. By utilizing forbidden rituals found in the Book of Cagliostro, she was able to extend her lifespan indefinitely, which is pretty wild if you think about it.
You feed off him, but I've seen the missing rituals from the Book of Cagliostro. Measure your next words very carefully, Doctor.
Because you might not like them.
Because you may not know of what you speak.
What is he talking about?
She draws power from the dark dimension to stay alive.
In the MCU, the dark dimension exists outside of time, which is why it lets her live so long. Doctor Strange is a lot more of a standard sorcerer. His abilities are entirely from extensive training. He studied the arcane arts at Kamar-Taj and doesn't have a mutation, a deal with a demon, or anything like that. Just your old-fashioned incantations, magical gestures, and energy manipulation. He pairs his magical mastery with high-level artifacts like the Cloak of Levitation and the Eye of Agamotto, which he used to essentially annoy Dormammu into giving up by trapping him in a time loop forever.
Dormammu! I come to bargain! Dormammu! Dormammu! Dormammu!
Plus, you have outliers like Agatha and the Scarlet Witch. They didn't train at Kamar-Taj, but they derived their magical powers from grimoires like the Darkhold, an ancient artifact of dark magic. Wanda, on the other hand, had a natural ability to use chaos magic, which lets her do all kinds of things that no other magic user can in the series. It's also unique because it has CMBR radiation, which is a kind of energy that came from the time of the Big Bang. Technology. Alright, so next you have all of your engineers and scientists. This classification covers anyone who gains abilities through advanced devices, armor, or cybernetics, integrating scientific achievement directly into their identity as a hero or villain. Their effectiveness depends entirely on design, upgrades, and available resources. Tony Stark is the definitive icon of this category. Debuting in Tales of Suspense number 39, Stark used repulsor energy and life support systems to build an exosuit that evolved into a platform for flight, energy projection, and AI assistance. But the list of tech-powered characters also includes synthetic life like Vision. Introduced in Avengers number 57, Vision is an android created using a solar core and the brain patterns of Simon Williams. The MCU version is a lot different. In the movies, he is a synthetic life form. His body is a fusion of organic tissue and vibranium, grown in the cradle and brought to life by the Mind Stone. And instead of Simon Williams, his consciousness is a complex matrix derived from Jarvis, Ultron, and Tony Stark. He can still fly, shoot beams, and do all his classic stuff, but it's a bit less pure robotics and more cosmic wonder mixed with tech. But technology serves all kinds of purposes in the MCU. Sure, it'll take an average guy and let him fly around and shoot lasers, but it also enhances people who already have superpowers. Bucky Barnes gets a massive boost to his superior strength thanks to his cybernetic arm. Similarly, Spider-Man is already powerful enough physically, but he wouldn't be able to swing off a building or shoot a single web without his web shooters. And Stark tech upgrades like the Iron Spider suit provide him with quirks like armor plating, different web combinations, and a kill mode that goes absolutely ballistic.
Activate instant kill!
Stark tech in general is a bit of an anomaly along with Wakandan tech, since both of them are decades ahead of anything that Earth can normally manufacture. Those helicarriers and the Winter Soldier were Stark tech, and they nearly caused an extinction-level event.
This is Project Insight. 3 next-generation helicarriers synced to a network of targeting satellites.
Similarly, while it's true that Black Panther's powers come from the heart-shaped herb, his panther habit makes him a one-man army capable of manipulating kinetic energy. There's even a variant of Thor in the comics who is literally powered entirely by technology, and he's able to do things that the real Thor can. Alien biology. A bunch of characters seem like they have superpowers when in reality they're just built differently. Thanos technically doesn't have a single superpower. His armor? Nope. His weapon? Dwarven made. His strength? All natural. This man was dominating the big three with no trouble or powers, just pure strength and skill. This classification essentially covers everybody like him. These beings possess superhuman abilities because they're not human at all. Another great example of this is Mantis.
You feel love.
Yeah, I guess, I feel a general unselfish love for just about everybody.
No. Romantic, sexual love.
No, I don't.
For her.
While at first, having the power of empathy doesn't really get you to the edge of your seat, her power is very real. She is able to sense and influence emotions through touch, which are all biological traits of her alien lineage. It's also what almost made the Avengers win against Thanos on Titan. You know, before Peter screwed everything up? Even Groot, a Flora Colossus, demonstrates that what looks like environmental manipulation is actually just a casual Tuesday for his species. Drax the Destroyer too. He is a powerhouse on Earth, but on his homeworld, Everybody is like that. And this is a really versatile class because you have people like Mantis and things like the symbiote on the same spectrum. The symbiotes are aliens from Clintar, and they're capable of bonding with their hosts to form a symbiotic relationship that massively strengthens their host. A normal guy can just casually go toe-to-toe with Spider-Man if he has one of these on. And then you have aliens like the Asgardians, characters like Thor and Loki. Their godlike strength and millennium-long lifespans are simply a result of their extraterrestrial DNA, although they have a lot more going for them than just that. A lot of them have diverse abilities like the Skrulls from planet Skrullos, who are natural-born shapeshifters and probably the best spies in the entire Andromeda galaxy. They're able to mimic anyone's appearance and voice at will, and they'll produce a perfect copy too. So, yeah, Marvel has all kinds of aliens, and all of them are superpowered by Earth standards, but in reality, they're just different. If you gave Drax the super soldier serum, it would probably work a lot better. If Thanos got bitten by a radioactive spider, he would probably be unstoppable. Or maybe only Peter can make Heaven's spider powers look that good. Cosmic powered. The last classification is pretty much the upper echelon of the Marvel Universe. These aren't just characters with really high stats. It's a lot fairer to call them one-of-a-kind cosmic entities. This classification is for those whose powers aren't connected to magic, mutation, or technology. Instead, they channel universal forces, or they're a galactic calamity themselves. The most iconic wielder of this force is Galactus, the devourer of worlds.
I was once little like you, a man from another world.
His origin is as cosmic as it gets. He was formed when a man named Galan from a previous universe merged with that universe's sentience just as it died. Yeah, by the way, he used to look like this, and personally, I would just own the baldness. He wields the power cosmic, allowing him to reshape reality, project vast energy, and alter matter on a galactic scale. He often grants a fraction of this power to his heralds, most notably the Silver Surfer, who also falls under this class. The Silver Surfer is one of the most famous examples of someone using the power cosmic. Before he became a herald, he was Norrin Radd, an astronomer from the utopian planet Zen-La. To save his world from consumption, he struck a deal with Galactus, offering his service in exchange for the planet's safety. But we're not here to talk about his heroics. See, Galactus didn't just give him a cool space surfboard. He fundamentally rewrote Norrin's biology. He encased Radd in a flexible, indestructible silvery substance that protects him from the vacuum of space, the heat of the stars, and the crushing pressure of black holes. The surfboard itself is a manifestation of the same cosmic material, mentally linked to the surfer and allowing him to travel across galaxies in seconds by entering hyperspace. And this guy is one of the strongest people in the Marvel Universe. But there's a tier even above him, and that's where you get into abstract entities like infinity, love, hate, and eternity, who made their first debut in Love and Thunder. These forces represent fundamental aspects of the universe, and they're not things you can fight. They're only one tier below the living tribunal, the multiversal judge who ensures the balance of power remains stable across every reality. Without them, the universe collapses, and all of them are as old as the multiverse itself. Honestly, when you think about it, a lot of these powers are so connected, and there are dozens that we still haven't covered. But which one stood out the most to you? And did you ever imagine that Galactus had such a crazy backstory? If you liked this video, let us know in the comments if you would like to see a part 2.